depend on me being flawless.
You know, I was comfortable where I was at. I was on Social Security disability, and that was my world, going to therapy and going home. And there's this scary space where you're kind of in between, where you're not real safe, because there's that dream out there of having a home and having a family and having a job, but you gotta take a step away from the comfort zone for a really long time before you end up in that far off, safe again place.
For me, it's just having a better lifestyle than I was given. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love my mom, and I even love my dad too, even though he wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I should be better. They went through all what they went through, and now it's my turn to step up and, you know, provide a better life for myself and my community.
The most important support in my recovery is the people that are in my church and my family.
I want to say it's my therapist, but I'm sure she would remind me that it's me.
Was my children.
One of the most important supports in my recovery is my wife.
Some other things that were important in my recovery was the support of my family. Their ideology of work, not just do nothing, they think you should do something, whether it's volunteering or working or...
I think the most important thing for a family member to know is that it's so important, even if you have anger and guilt and resentment and all these emotions directed towards that person, that it's really, really important not to say, oh, well, you couldn't do it last time, and, well, yeah, you tried that before and it didn't work, and to really, really try to refrain from that, because they're already doing enough of that to themselves without having any help. And if they can't count on you for positive reinforcement and unconditional positive regard, because I've seen so many people say, so, you know, well, they just thought I was going to do the same old thing anyway, so I did.
I like to walk, I like to go trout fishing. That's part of being healthy. Walking is exercise. It also is good for depression. I've had some times where I've having suicidal thoughts. Just the act of walking, going to the lake, sitting there, thinking, feeling better, the thoughts pretty much went away, and I felt better for myself, and I walked home.
Little victories are essential. That's what makes continuing worth it. If it's only the big thing, you've missed it, because recovery is a journey. It's a step by step.
Just those little things that maybe don't seem big, but in the context of conquering something as big as a mental illness, they're huge. And so things like going back to college and finishing a quarter, you know, not having to drop out halfway through, and then eventually having finished a year, or you know, staying out of the hospital for a month, staying out of the hospital for 6 months.
I was living in a clean and sober home, and for the first time in 15 years, I moved out without somebody telling me to get the heck out of there. That was pretty significantly different to move with people saying, we're going to miss you.
The greatest reward that I can think of in my recovery is just to be alive.
The greatest joy in my recovery is knowing that I'm strong enough to get through what I've been through.
The greatest joy in my recovery is the difference I've had in personal relationships with people I love.
The greatest joy of my recovery is living life to its fullest and loving it.
Well, I think that some examples of recovery is having your own bank account, being able to write a check, buying your groceries, you know, getting a job.
I knew it was a real turning point when I could go to the grocery store and buy groceries and take a cab home instead of going to the store and buying a few groceries and taking them home in my little cart because I didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really big turning point for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love coming home from work and coming out here and working in the yard and just looking around and realizing that this is mine. I earned all this, and I can paint the wall whatever color I want.
It's seeing your daughter come home from high school thrilled because for the first time somebody's asked her to go out on a date.
It's the person that's lived on the street for 15 years that has never been stabilized, has never been able to continue their meds, to be able to get that connection, get a home, and all the pieces fall together.
How are you doing this morning? In personal relationships that I have with people, I had no idea that things would be this good. In trying to avoid my feelings of depression, I did things that also muted my feelings of happiness. It's like the first time you taste pineapple, fresh pineapple. Who knew?
Mental illnesses are not that different from any other kind of illness. The brain is an organ, it lives inside the body, and just as we expect other illnesses and other organs to perhaps be ill and then heal, we can expect the same for people's mental and emotional illnesses. Recovery happens all the time. We need to look for it and recognize it and champion it when it happens.
I think that one of the reasons we want people in recovery is a two-layered. On an individual basis, it gives people hope and joy and a reason to live. That's just human rights. But you know, there's another level to it. And the truth of it is that recovery decreases an economic burden that people see and is actually something that someone that is not in recovery does. You know, hospitalization, incarceration, all of those things which are used with people with mental health issues as a place to shove them when they don't know what to do with them, those are all major costs to the society. So if you can get folks to recovery and they can no longer access and utilize those institutions, but in turn can start working, becoming taxpayers, becoming part of the community, then that gives back economically. They are no longer a burden. They are no longer a strain. And when we can stop looking at people as that, oh, it's really great for all of us.